Well, I've been away getting my house half demolished and restored so that I've now got a very shiny new kitchen. But in the meantime, I didn't have a computer. So, that was a very boring month or so. But I'm back! And it seems so is a DLC. And is my bad habit of, in the middle of a sentence, having a sip of coffee. Now, so with the DLC, which consists of a giant metal minotaur and what was the other thing? Little tiny speed bump that he might slip over as he stomps across the Bride Grounds. There was also a free lord for the dwarves that came out. Thorek Ironbrow. Big fuck off cranky guy. Now, a lot of people have been a little bit butthurt about this because Thorek came out and not Cazador, who's a king. You'd think he'd be more important. But when you look at the other three dwarf lords, they're all just melee. Whereas Thorek is, I suppose, what you would call more of a dwarf magic user if they used magic and not runes, even though runes are magic. Don't tell the dwarves that. But anyway, so Thorek Ironbrow, the Rune Lord of Karak Azul. He does not start in Karak Azul. He's gone and found Karak Zorn, which is nice of him because I didn't know where it was. Well, actually I did, but you know, he had to find it for the dwarves, even though there were already dwarves living there. So, what does Ironbrow's expedition have? He has suitable climate jungle, because, you know, mountains are a lot like a jungle. Oath Gold cost for crafting runes is minus 50%. Oath Gold has had a bit of a revamp in this, but anyway, we'll get to that. And Oath Gold from buildings plus 50%. Hero recruit rate plus 5 for runesmiths. Upkeep minus 25% for runesmith heroes. His lord effects are plus 3 armor piercing weapon damage for his army, plus 10 armor for his army, and reload time reduction plus 15% for bolt throwers, grudge throwers, quarreler units in his army as well. So very good for his artillery and quarrelers. So, As always, I'll be doing my legendary start guide on the legendary campaign with very hard battle and legendary chaos invasion. Though, being that you start at Karak Zorn in the far reaches of the map, I don't really think chaos invasion is going to be a problem. Depending on how far you go with confederations and that sort of stuff. So, being that you are a fair bit away from the rest of the dwarves and all of your friends, you kind of start surrounded by enemies. That includes some wood elves, some lizard men, skaven, orcs. So you've got your ancestral hatreds and your non-ancestral hatreds and your War of the Beard hatreds and your just hating things for the fuck of it hatreds. Because, you know, you're a dwarf and it's what you do. Alrighty. So, yep, here we are down in Karak Zorn. Now, before I get to what all this shit is I'm clicking through, let's start with some stuff that has changed a little. So, the way you get Oath Gold through your lords has changed a little. So if we have a look at our runesmith, we'll have a look at him in a sec actually. So, but yeah, getting Oath Gold has changed a bit. Your grudges have changed a bit, so you no longer just have 3 tiers where you don't get that much of a benefit when you've got no grudges, and you don't get that much of a issue when you've got lots of grudges. It kind of changed. So you start out with just grumbling. On turn start, a moderate chance of slayers will be added to your regiments of renown pool. So you end up with a sort of extra giant slayers and that sort of thing in there. Then you can have it go up in severity where you start losing public order and research rate, and you get a charge bonus for some reason, and you lose diplomatic relations with dwarves, which gets more severe at the top, but you get better diplomatic relations and better public order if you manage to reduce it, as well as better research rate. So, and at a lower at these lower tiers, you get less chance of getting a Slayers. These ones, you get a higher chance of getting the Slayers. That's just one of the things. They've also brought in Ogre Mercenaries, and so if you meet certain criteria, a little Ogre camp will appear, and you can run your Lord to it, or maybe even your hero, and you get the option to get some Ogres to add to your recruitment pool as mercenaries. You don't have to hire them straight away, but they can be there to be hired, just like your regiments of renown are. At the start, you start with a bunch of various grudges, which in Thorek's case is reforging certain items. Part of this is you need to go to places like up here where you see these little white floaty things to get bits and pieces to reforge. Now, the next bit they have changed a bit is, where are we? The forge for our Oath Gold. So again, here are some of these things. So you can get Raton's Collar of Bestial Control to get yourself a Carnosaur that's being yoked. You can also get a Melee Specialist Ethereal when you get your Hero's Pendant and your Chain of Binding. You can summon him. You can also get through various others of these certain gear of war, metallurgy, cipher, and this sort of thing. So more Oath Gold and these sorts of things. So this is essentially getting these special things like your Ancestral Rune of Valea, 1700 hit points and plus 100% vigor. Very nice. Ancestral Rune of Grogny, invulnerable to damage when you use it. Oh, wow, that's actually pretty fucking good, isn't it? Vulnerable to damage, wow. There's a Vortex spell. Vortex Rune, not spell. You don't get runes. And these guys give various buffs. Like, this is absolutely insane. Like, fucking hell. Like that. A lot of the weapons haven't really changed. So your weapons, your armor, talismans, and that sort of thing haven't changed, but they have added runes. And as you can see, they have an amount of Oath Gold that it costs to get them, and they'll give you certain options. Master Rune of Flight is a magic missile that you can. That's a bit odd. Weapon strength, and it'll actually tell you how many of them you can actually forge, I believe, as well. So you can have 3 of those, and that sort of thing. There are some pretty nice runes here and there as well. Things that'll do you can put onto bits of artillery and other units as well, because these all kind of act as different runes basically, and your recycle is still there as well. Now, when you go to these runes, so you've now got a lot more slots for your dwarves because you've got your runes, and you can have character runes on them as well. They're the runes that just specifically buff a character, not necessarily the army. As you can see, Ironbrow starts with Craggy, reducing your miscast base chance. He also has the Rune of Burning, so it adds explosive damage that reduces enemy leadership to artillery, which is pretty cool. And you've also got a Rune of Stoicism, so bonus versus large plus 8 and expert charge defense. He's got his Old Ways are the Best, as I said in the start. He also has unique skills, so he's got his Anvil of Doom. He also has a Veteran Anvil Guard, so plus 8 melee defense, plus 8 melee attack. Rune Master, miscast base chance minus 15%, shared cooldown minus 15% for all Master Runes. Because when you use the Master Rune, there's a shared cooldown. And he's got Greater Locus of Power, which replaces normal Locus of Power, which is enemy casters within range suffer a miscast explosion when they cast. And you've got your usual Root of Grimnir. On top of this, you've also got Fiery Temper, so cooldown minus 20% for Master Rune, Wrath and Ruin, and you cause fear. Coffee. Exacting Standard, hero action, success chance, plus 15% for Runesmiths. or just all of them. Passive ability, Master of Stromny Redbeard for runesmiths in his army, and shared cooldown minus 10% for all rune magic in his army. Oath Gold from buildings, local province, plus 200%. And that's one of your big changes for Oath Gold. You no longer generate the Oath Gold itself, your buildings do. And so none of the lords actually do that. So your Oath Gold cheese is completely gone. But your construction cost minus 15% and time minus 20% is also good on that one. Runic Talisman, so Master Rune of Spite, ward save 5%, and Master Rune of Grugny, so direct area damage when you're in melee, so basically you're acting like a Mortis engine, and you also affect allies in range to have a plus 20% missile resistance as well, so that's pretty good. And we've got the Flaxen's Rune of Seeking, so anti-large projectiles home in on targets for grudge thrower units, which is a bit weird because they're supposed to not be anti-large, but whatever. Armor piercing missile damage plus 50% for crawler units, and Rune of Burning projectiles cause explosive damage and reduce leadership for bolt thrower units. Whew, there's a lot to go through on him. Runic production lines, he gets a charge bonus of plus 7, and he gets Frenzy for his entire army. So all that entire line is pretty damn good. Then you got the rune line. This is a new rune line. It's pretty much the same for all your new rune lords. It's been changed as of the most recent DLC. There was a patch with that improved some of these things. That goes the same for all of the other dwarf changes. Rune of Speed, so plus 45% speed, 24 attack. Meh. Rune of Oath and Steel, so that just gives you more armor. Rune of Wrath and Ruin has been changed. It is now a explosion, and they just basically have a long cooldown on these things. There's Damping, which is minus 8 Winds of Magic power reserve for the local region. Only affects the enemy because you don't use Winds of Magic to cast all of these runes. Rune of Slowness, so that's basically slows the enemy. Forge Fire is a passive one, so constant around self, minus 15 armor for your enemy. Rune of Breaking, so that one is less armor for your gives your guys the ability to sunder armor and armor piercing and base weapon damage. Rune of Negation is plus 40% damage resistance to just one unit. Immune to Psychology, magic resistance minus 10% and minus 10% missile resistance for local enemy armies. So that means your runes do more damage and your shooting does more damage. Red line hasn't really changed. It's the usual buffing of various units. Blue line doesn't have any of the money reduction things that your old line had. I think it had at least. But it's still not too bad. So you've still got Lightning Strike. You've got your Inspirational Leader for your casualty replenishment rate. You've got this one for extra ambush defense chance, which is really important because you're near Skaven. And Inquiring Mind as well if you want to go for that. So a lot of very good things in his lines. Now, Thorek also starts with a Runesmith. Runesmith, Gottry Grimson. I got a Valaya one. It is just random trait, so you won't necessarily get Valaya. I don't mind Valaya. That's not too bad. A little starting one. I'm going to pop him into Thorek's army. Forgot to speed everything up. Now, with the Thorek start position, yes, you start in the mountains. It means your home region is quite defensible. The only issues are you do have some hostiles here. They don't seem hostile, but they actually will declare war on you. Same with over here with Teotihuacan. They will declare war on you as well. And up here you've got Clan Moors. So really, in my opinion, what you want to do is clear your way up here, take Lost Plateau, Mount Arachnos, and take out Clan Moors as your top priority. Now, Karak Zorn, it has a landmark building. So Lord Recruit rank +1, upkeep for Longbeards -10%, recruitment cost -33% Longbeards, Longbeard recruit rank +2, and local recruitment capacity +2 as well. So that's a pretty nice building, but I don't need that building right now. I need gold, because we get gold, and gold also gives you more oath gold. So we want that. Oh, and as you can see, a top rank hero recruit rank +1 for Thanes, and you get a Lord recruit rank bonus as well. But down here, we want that, and we want to get up to Quarrelers because he does boost them quite nicely. So let's start with our first battle. For this one, we want definitely do want anti-large, because what we have is an Ragnarok spider in the enemy army, and we definitely want Rune of that as well, Rune of Burning, so that we put our explosive damage down into these three. As you can see, the auto resolve has actually changed, so we get a decisive victory and we would not lose anyone. So you can actually go on the auto resolve and one of these cards is flashing red. That means you are screwed. But even though we will get a decisive victory with low casualties, let's fight it anyway. So Thorek's actually not too bad. He himself, he's not overly tanky or anything, but I quite like him all the same. He's a nice fella. Alrighty. They will throw their thingies. I'm going to pop out like this. We want Thorek and him up the front. As soon as the Arachnarok's in range, we are going to be targeting that with our crossbowmen, because we want it destroyed. Alrighty. Now, make sure the grudge thrower is firing at the arrow boys, just so they don't have so much in the way of ranged against us. If we see them bunch up at all though, we change targets straight away. Not doing too badly on those hits. Keep firing at the arrow boys, stop firing at the damn Arachnarok, jeez. There we go, that's more like it. That's what we wanted to see. A bit of bunching up that just happens. A bit randomly, but that's alright. How's our crossbowmen are still well out of range at the moment. They look a little bit bunched up, so we'll swap targets. Grudge throwers are doing nicely. Master of Runecraft. At the moment, he's got Rune of Oath and Steel and Rune of Speed, so neither of those are too useful to us at this point. Quarrelers. Let's get Quarrelers specifically targeted. Thorek, we're going to put him up against that. Pop him up against that. Oh, yep, he's getting his ass kicked there as well. That's no good. Let's give him more armor. Jeez. He's really getting wrecked by that spider. Okay. Well. What the fuck are you doing? Oh, they're just moving for... Alright, we gotta pull him out of that. That's not going well for him at all. flanking over there, please. You guys can come up and help out. Up here. Alright, so it's now going to do a bit of damage to the crossbow, but that's alright. We can have a bit of that. Beautiful. Got it running. So keep that up, my friends. Let's see if we can kill it. We can't catch it. If we can kill it, that's still good enough. I don't think we're going to get it. If the grudge thrower can manage. With its rune, I think it gets a little bit of extra power for these things. Oh, come on, it's on 0. What the fuck? There it goes. Ha! On 0. Come on. Just shows you do have to get a target into the minus to actually kill it. But we won. We only had 6 losses. Thorek did take a fair bit of damage on that, but these things happen. It's all good. It's all part of the master plan. Now, another thing that has actually changed is the rewards you can get. So, you've got the option for income from all buildings plus 10%, growth for the local province and public order for the local province. Or you can take oath gold and money. In this case, at least. It depends on the enemy you're fighting and that sort of thing, of course. So we're going to take the oath gold and treasure. Oh, we wiped him out, it seems. Nice. Alright, now we're not actually going to pop him backwards. We're going to move forwards. Not going to do any recruiting. We're just going to go just a little bit ahead and get to there. Now, what we want to do is get to Rune of Wrath and Rune as fast as possible. Then we can start moving on to probably the blue line. Wrath and Rune is pretty important in my opinion for both of our runesmiths. For things like sieges, it is absolutely awesome. Now, the research and technology, there's like little tweaks in it, but overall it hasn't really changed. My main thing is getting up our income. So that, in my opinion, is what you need to aim for first. Alrighty, let's get through this turn, move to the next turn. Alrighty. So what we want to do is essentially take the Lost Plateau in turn 2, and we need to get heading towards Mount Arachnos as fast as possible from there. Oh yes, and you get this particular quest. So if you occupy, loot, raised or sack 6 different settlements, you can confederate Karak Azul. That is a thing that's a bit up for debate on whether or not it's a good idea. Alright. Into the Lost Plateau. Close victory, casualties medium. No one's going to get wiped out. I'm actually going to auto-resolve. And we can occupy. Now, for me, I put a lot of importance on getting growth, because I just want to be able to grow, essentially. And our growth is kind of shit. So we're going to stick with growth at Lost Plateau for the moment. We're going to get him a Rune of Wrath and Ruin. We are going to get him the Rune of Wrath and Ruin as well. And we are also going to recruit miners with blasting charges. So as you saw before, those blasting charges really kick some ass. So that's our goal there. Get them, and we'll be right.
Always our best.
We do need a bit of replenishment, and we may just end up replacing those dwarf warriors with quarrelers. But anyway, that's our second turn done. So the reason there's 2 mines on the Karakazul Confederation is because in the end you are confederating a city that's going to be hard to defend. You're probably not going to have a great deal of income at the time. He's more than likely going to be on the back foot as well. So it's not the easiest of places to, to hold on to. And in the end, it may actually be worse for your campaign than better. So think about it hard before you just go, I'm going to do it. We're going to take 3 quarrelers. Quarrelers are good, especially for Thorek's army, and especially later on in Thorek's army. Yep, we're going to have we'll have our gold mine soon. That'll be good. And I forgot one extremely important thing that we needed to do early on that I meant to do, completely forgot. Diplomacy. Super important, diplomacy. What we should have done very early on, because we already know Teotihuacan, is see if we can get any kind of non-aggression or something with them. Especially these guys. There we go. So that will hopefully prevent them from at least declaring war on us, because they normally do declare war on us. We'll keep going for extra cash.
Good honest rock.
They have a military presence of 7, which is fine. We'll move up a little. What do they have? Ooh, okay.
Raise the banners.
We have 15. They have quite a bit more. So we'll just sit here and just get a bit more replenishment. Maybe we won't actually. Let's pop him back up here. You gotta rethink these things occasionally. We'll get some more quarrelers. And we should be able to take them out with relative ease. See if we can get them to become aggressive with us. And maybe lay a trap. Alright, so we'll get a Pyrrhic victory out of this, apparently. What do we have? We've got 7, 14, 15. They have 7, 14 more than us. I'm going to pull back. It does mean we're not going to get our recruitment, but that's alright. So what we're going to do is going to do a very undwarven thing. We'll pop actually back here a little bit further. And we'll go into ambush stance. See if we can actually ambush one of these little deals of an army. While we're here, let's spend 2,000 of our gold. And see if we can upgrade our gold mine a bit. You really want to be concentrating on your economy early on. And trying to get that growth in. And taking out the Skaven before they can actually become too powerful. As you can see, the Skaven have benefited us quite a bit there. They've taken Mount Arachnos. So, or at least destroyed Mount Arachnos. Not sure if they've taken it or not. But what we should do is wreck this army. Yep, decisive victory. Take more money and oath gold. And we're actually going to force march back here. So it very much looks like they've gone and taken that. So that
Glory
is where our next aim is. So we've got our Wrath of Ruin now. Going up for that, minus 20% cooldown for it. So we're going to take that second point, then I'm going to start on Root Marcher. You're just going to be going through Wrath and Ruin first off. And that is where we're going to leave the first half of the start guide for Thorek Ironbrow. So hopefully this has been helpful so far. Look out for the next part. It will probably be a day or two after. I've kind of had to change up a lot of things because of my time being absent. So look out for me very soon. Hopefully it's been good. I will see you in the next episode.